when I was with judicial and the probation department, I worked with INS to put together a referral form. So when people were convicted and placed on probation and were using state services, state treatments, and were living in their communities, and people are trying to live a good life, and there's criminals in their community that shouldn't even have been in the United States, we worked closely with INS and then later with ICE to remove them. These were people that were becoming an impediment to the good people of the legal immigrant community living a good life. So therefore, we would arrange for people to be taken who are here illegally and commit and are convicted of additional crimes and be taken in a controlled environment to start their immigration proceedings. After the Trust Act was passed, when I was still working on the job, we could no longer do that. We can no longer communicate with this agency as we did with every other agency. I worked cases with Secret Service, the FBI, local police, state police, all in the name of community safety, public safety. This Trust Act was now, if we did communicate with federal authorities, immigration authorities, we could now lose our jobs because we could no longer do that. So now those people had to remain. And in some counts, they would take them in the parking lot if they were here illegally and they committed a violent crime or some sort of. And no one was bothering with the, petty crimes, breach of peace, things like that, minor cases. So now they used to be taken either in one of our correction facilities in a controlled environment, in the courthouse in a controlled environment, or one of our offices in a controlled environment. And the good chair mentioned that sometimes they'd get chased down the street. As I mentioned in one of our previous meetings, there was a man that was taken in front of attempted to be taken in front of the Danbury court, and he took off and got hit by a car in front of the courthouse. Well, that wouldn't have happened if he was in a controlled environment. So also now ICE would have to go to their residences to look for people that are on their wanted list. And if they go into a residence where there was other people who shouldn't be in the country because they were here illegally, they could be taken too. So instead of just the person who is committing a criminal act and got convicted, now you're subjecting additional people. There's a lot of talk about protecting the immigrant community. I fully support that. I don't understand why we want to keep people who are convicted of crimes and are subject to deportation off the radar, because those are people I'm sure that the good people that we live alongside in the immigrant community would prefer aren't there either. So this I think is a misnomer calling it a Trust Act, because people who are committing, who are victims of crimes and go to the courthouse, I'd never seen anyone harassed or taken because they wanted to report a crime. I just don't believe that's happening. And if it is, it's extremely isolated. So I think the Trust Act helped keep people of Connecticut safe. It helped keep people especially of the immigrant community where they lived safe. And this is the exact opposite of what we should be doing. And it's the exact opposite of trust. We should have the trust of the community for community safety. And this Trust Act further endangers the people of Connecticut by not allowing officers to do their job and communicate with other agencies in the country and around the state, but just single out one. We're going to keep you from talking to one federal agency, ICE. I'm firmly against this, and I think it's the wrong thing for us to be doing and ignoring federal law. And if people don't want to be subject, here illegally and don't want to be subject to deportation, don't commit crimes. Live peacefully, and no one's going to bother you for the most part. So I'm very adamantly against this, and I'll be voting no.